Hello, everyone. Well, just by round of applause, how great is it to be in Orlando, right? I love coming down here. I mean, not just because it's a magical place, but it's just, there's so much energy and there's so much fun. And I wanted to share a statistic that I just saw my team shared with me. And they were surveying parents this time and asking them what their top 3 rides were at Disney World. Did you see this statistic? Here are the top 3 rides. So think about it from your own point of view, which rides you love the most at Disney World. Number 1 for parents is Space Mountain, right? Probably nostalgia. Number 2, Haunted Mansion, right? I wasn't expecting Haunted Mansion. Number 3, bus ride back to the airport, right? We've all been there. Listen, I'm so glad to be here, and my job is to kind of have a little edutainment with you all. I want to talk to you all and get you inspired about innovation and trying new things. And what I wanted to start with actually was a story. And these are my kids. They actually are all grown up now, but this is them at the time of this story. Jack was in 5th grade and Kai was in kindergarten. And we have a love of travel. And my kids have actually been to about 40 countries each, because I think it's important to get out and see the world. And the first time I took my son Jack on a trip, because Kai was too young, he said, "Mom, I want to go with you to Spain," because I had an upcoming conference. And so he came with me. And we went to Barcelona and Madrid. And I remember just before we were going, Jack said he was nervous. And when he told me why, he said he's nervous because he didn't speak the language. He didn't speak Spanish very well. And I said, honey, don't worry about that, because people are nice. Everyone figures out a way to talk to each other so you can learn. And when he got there, I noticed the first few days, he just had this concerned look on his face, no matter the food we ate or the cultural custom he saw or the people we met. And one day I asked him, what his expression was about. And he pulled me aside during a meeting and he pointed at something and he said, "Mom, that's not how we do it. That's weird." And I said, "Why is it weird?" He said, "Because we've never done it that way." And I said, "Jack, if you're going to travel with Mom, you can't use the word weird. You have to use the word different." And what was so interesting was from then on, anytime he saw something new or experienced something that he wasn't familiar with, he'd say, "That was really different." And it completely changed his mind, right? It went from being weird, which is about right and wrong, to being different, which is about new and possibilities. So how good are you at thinking in terms of different versus weird when someone comes to you with a new idea? So I want us to talk today about why it's so important for us to embrace the new and to think in terms of possibilities. Because if we don't, we're going to miss the opportunity. I want to talk a little bit about what holds us back as humans from really embracing new opportunities, embracing change. And then I'm going to leave you with some ways that you can start to embrace change on your own, both professionally and personally. The future is not about who you are. All of you know who you are, or you shouldn't be executives at the company. What you need to tell me if you're going to be successful is who you're becoming. The future is who you're becoming, because that drives a lot of your strategy and who you're hiring. Let me give you an example. Here's another car example. Ford has had a patent since 2020 that will allow them to meld products and services easily. And what I mean by that is, in the future, your car, if you miss your car payment, it's going to start to shut down functionality in your car. Suddenly, the air conditioning won't work, the GPS won't work, and if you miss too many payments, the car is going to be able to repo itself and drive it back to a lot with autonomous driving. I know, but you think, that's crazy. It already exists. Who are you becoming matters, right? So what holds us back from becoming, right? You know you need to change. You've seen the possibilities. It's all kind of fun, but what will you be next? And the thing I want you to think about is, what is the new business model or the partnerships that you'll have 10 years from now that have nothing to do with what you're doing today? What could be completely different? Let's talk about how you're going to get there. And the first thing I got to do is remove some barriers. So let's think about your daily work. if you want to think about who you're becoming, we got to change how you're working right now. What holds us back from thinking big like this? I think there's some key things, and I want to see if these feel right to you. So, 3 things to think about. In corporate cultures, we like to reward people for more, not valuable. Does this sound familiar? You are promoted and you are bonused based on the number of people you manage, the products and services you manage, the P&L, right? The geographies. I don't know many, if any, people that are rewarded for doing less. That's changing, by the way. There are organizations that are literally rewarding people for eliminating the unnecessary and making it part of their bonuses. Are you? We have to create the space for change to happen. So people focus on the valuable work, not the volume of work. Okay, that's one. The second thing that I think we have to change, especially for the leaders in this room, is, are we focused internal or external? And what I mean by that is, so often we think about more of the reports and the meetings and the emails. We spend more time in the microscope than the telescope. How often do you carve out time for people to think forward rather than look backward? The final one, and this leads to this, is how we have this addiction to doing versus thinking. Right? Think about this. When someone asks you how you're doing, what do people usually say? How are you doing? Usually they say busy. I'm busy. And then the person, you have a busy off with someone, right? Oh, you think you're busy, right? And it goes on, oh, well, you know, I did this and I did that. Like, everyone's busier than the next guy because it's a badge of honor, right? We are so loving busy and doing that thinking has become a daring act. I don't know how you're going to innovate if you don't have time to think. We almost have to force people not to sneak it, but to do it. Because people like to use the fact that they're busy as an excuse not to be able to innovate and not be able to get things done. So if I mandate that everyone has to have a half day on their calendar. They can pick when it is for deep work. Right? So you're not context switching all the time. 1 hour isn't going to cut it, but a half day for deep work. Because we do our best thinking when we're alone. We get our best ideas when we're alone. But we build our best ideas when we're together. So next time you want to brainstorm something, give people time to think beforehand. And that way when they come together, they'll come with good ideas, not the same old ones because they haven't had time to think about it. Okay, so thinking is going to be very, very important for us to be able to do something new and see the possibilities and frankly not be stressed. Like, why do some people think we're killing it in terms of looking ahead and other people are like, we're terrible at that? Right? And the biggest gap is usually the leaders have high scores and the teams have low scores. The leaders are like, we're amazing. The team's like, not so much. And that's where you see the gap. It's like really great, honest conversations. And I think you're really going to like that. Okay, so maybe you're open to change, maybe you're not. But we always have room to improvement. We want to go up 1 bar. Okay, so I'm going to give you some real techniques now to change. And I'm originally from the Midwest. I'm a practical Midwesterner, and I want to give you things that you can do right now. These are going to be techniques that fall in these 3 buckets. The first is being more curious. The second is challenging assumptions. And the third is prioritizing your time. And I will tell you that number 3 is the most important. We talk about all these tips, right? And some of you might feel flooded by them, and I apologize if you did. But not everyone thinks and acts the same way. So you need kind of a toolkit, not just a playbook. But the thing is going to be your mindset. That's why someone said, would I have a yes day? I'm more about boundaries around time. I'm more about getting the mindset around change before I give people just the playbook to go. So let me have you think about mindset for a minute with your team. And there's a great anecdote that I wanted to share with you to think about you and your mindset. So, you know, the story goes that there's a son who came home to his mother after quitting his first job. It didn't work out how he planned. And, you know, he was complaining and a little despondent. And, you know, that first time when all of a sudden the future isn't looking how you thought it was going to go. And he sat down at the kitchen table and his mom put 3 mugs in front of him and filled them with boiling water. And of course he's sitting there like, what is she doing? And she took some things out of the cabinet, and in the first mug, she put a carrot. In the second mug, she put an egg. And in the third mug, she put some coffee. And she said, just wait a minute, and I'm going to tell you why I did this. And it steeped for a minute, and then she pointed at the first mug again, and she said, look at the mug with the carrots, what do you see? And he said, well, when the carrots got in the hot water, they turned soft. And she said, right, when the carrots met with adversity, they bent to it and softened. In the second mug with the egg, what do you see? Well, the egg hardened. It's now hard-boiled. When it met with adversity, right, it hardened. And in the third cup, what do you see? He said, I see the coffee, and the coffee changed the water. So which one do you want to be? Do you want to bend to it? Do you want to be hardened to it? Or do you want to change the environment? It's like when you ask me what keeps me up at night. I want to be positive about it. Now I want to be the coffee that changes the water. So I hope that you learned a lot here. And if you want to take something back to your team, I'm going to leave up these QR codes. And what this will let you do, there's also a URL at the bottom if you don't have an iPhone, I'm sorry. It'll let you download a tip sheet because I truly want you to take some of these tips and use them for yourself and back at work and with your team so you can start to transform the way that you work. I hope you will try something new. I hope you will try something different. And I hope you really create some impactful change. Thank you for having me here today. Thank you so much. I'll see you at cocktails.